Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm actually recording this video from Salento, Colombia. I traveled here for a trip with my family, and every time I travel outside of the United States, I can't help but compare United States life United States versus life in other countries. So, I came to the United States about 25 years ago. I think it was a different time, in history and in the way United States felt. I think we're way more optimistic. It was kind of like I came here, I came to the United States in '99, so it was kind of like the end of dot-com boom. Is people were excited about the internet. It was before September 11. People. It was kind of like people were friendly. I think it was a global world. It was easy to travel. People were kind of like innocent. Also, overall, I really noticed where how kind of the arc of history has shifted. And people in the United States now, one of the wealthiest countries in the world, one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world, with one of the best, higher education systems in the world. How people are really pretty pessimistic about the future. And kind of like living in the United States, I took the time to reflect on this. I live in Florida, South Florida, and I live among well-to-do people, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, people who are really, can afford most of things in life. But even they're pretty anxious about the kind of the world and the future for their kids. I'll give you an example. I got a call from this lady, kind of a friend. She is her son is my son's friend, and she called me. She knows I have a YouTube channel. She knows I do career coaching, just kind of for fun, as a hobby besides running my real estate company. And she was like really anxious about I think the future for her children. Asking me like what they could do. The kids are anxious. AI. AI is coming in. Kids can find jobs. Not sure what to start with. So there's this kind of like a lot of unease that's spreading among, I would say, even the upper class, middle and upper class in America, which makes me kind of like think, I'm talking about two things at the same time, which is two things in my mind. One is AI, kind of like AI disruptions of the workforce, and another one, life in America. So I'm living in this for the last few days here in the city of Colombia, which is in the middle of the agricultural country, and I'm thinking out loud. I see a lot of farmers here, coffee farmers. I see people just kind of like a lot of construction people, a lot of people work with their hands, and I don't see really for a long while, in my opinion, AI really disrupting this life here. I'm talking about maybe decades probably, because everything is sourced locally, right? They have their milk here, eggs, bread, everything is grown locally. Within probably most of the food comes within 20, 30 miles away from the city, from the city. And weather is stable here. Like I know other countries in the world, let's say Florida, Arizona, other parts in the world, Europe, South America, Brazil especially, where I visit my family as well. I see really weather disrupting and disruptions, and it's becoming kind of like scary, a little bit unpleasant to live in those places. Versus here, the weather is stable all year long. So I think as I think about AI disruption, I think it's definitely coming. It's definitely coming. There's no doubt about it. Like I invest in few tech companies, and I see them kind of like what kind of the progress making and automating tasks, and kind of reducing some of the labor that's required, versus companies that may be a little bit more backward, kind of maybe more primitive. Let's put it this way. Again, I'm using this word lightly. Actually, to be quite honest, I love Colombia. Like it much more to be here because it's just a simple place. People are very friendly, very open. Life is simple. People walk a lot more. Food tastes a lot fresher here. But I think in a weird way, they're going to be less affected by AI revolution than people, let's say, in more advanced countries like America, Europe, and other places where technology is more advanced. I can't get even a great internet reception here. So I think that's actually, as annoying as it is, that may be an advantage for those kind of like countries that are a little bit were slow to develop. But with the coming of AI, I think the countries that are more technologically advanced are going to have higher disruptions in labor and technology and all that stuff. You're looking at different projections from McKinsey, from other places, people on some different thought leaders on YouTube. we're facing anywhere in the next 5 to 10 years, anywhere from 20 to 50% of all jobs in the United States are going to be affected, automated, or eliminated by AI in some shape or form. So we're talking about tens of millions of people have going to have a different type of different job, maybe no pay. The question: what happens with those people? Where do they go? And what kind of society and maybe civil unrest it creates. That's been a lot on my mind. I don't have the answers, but things that I'm noticing when I travel from first world United States, to a third of the world, maybe second world country like Colombia, right? And another thing I notice here, besides it's sort of like being more technologically less technologically advanced than America, I'm noticing the food tastes better here. Incredible. People are really enjoying the time and taking the time to talk to you. Nobody's in a rush here. People walk a lot more. The cost of living here is probably a fifth of what it costs to live in South Florida. Again, I'm a tourist here. I realize I don't live here, but I notice people. I notice people who are more calm, more relaxed, really being more in the moment, enjoying spending time with their families. I speak a little bit of Spanish, so I can converse with the locals, and I see a society that is a lot more balanced compared to American society, where everybody's always in the rush. Everybody's trying to make a buck. There's a hustle. They're always trying to come up with a new way to side hustle to make more money. And again, it kind of affects all the classes of society, because people are trying to make more money, charge more. People can afford more life. Can afford less in life, whether it's raising rents, whether it's shopping, So I think, I wonder if the quality of life in those second and third world countries might be higher. You cannot be poor. Maybe middle class or higher middle class. If we take higher middle class in places like Colombia or Brazil, where I travel a lot, in places like America or Canada, where I've been, and I have some friends from there, or Germany, where I have family living, I wonder who has a higher quality of life. I think that, yes, I talked a little bit about AI, how AI is going to affect second and third world countries, and how AI is going to potentially affect first world countries, which I think disruption in first world countries is going to be a lot faster and a lot more severe. Now, back to a friend of mine who talked about her son, who's anxious about his future. She's not the only one. I have many friends whose kids kind of graduated college in the last year or two and really cannot find jobs. And we're talking about kids who are smart, have good grades, went to good schools. There's this kind of I would say, I don't know how much people speak about it, but it's probably an anxiety and rising unemployment among kids, young people between 22 and 25 who just graduated and they have little to no jobs. And my suspicion, just looking at the American market, it's probably aspects of AI, which is really doing the jobs that the younger people kind of trainees or people who just join the job market are doing. Now AI is doing more and more of those tasks, together with this kind of economic uncertainty due to tariffs, inflation, all that stuff. So guys, I think I'm gonna make a separate post about the skills you need for the future, but I think acknowledging the problem, yes, there's going to be disruption in AI. Yes, maybe the few years, quite a few years could be a little bit scary, uncertain, and quite tumultuous. But I think if you don't prepare, and don't think about it with a positive mindset, I think you're probably going to end up in this kind of black hole of depression and anxiety. I see a lot of my friends are entering. So I will dedicate a separate video about the skills that you will need for the future. Okay, so thank you for listening. If you like this, if you like to share my thoughts, I would like to hear what you have in the comments. Very curious about your thoughts about how AI is affecting your life. What do you think about AI maybe affecting the life and work in your country? Just in general, curious about the comments. Thank you for listening.